the Queen Camilla, said that Harry had been brainwashed by Meghan, and that in fact members of the royal family felt that Meghan kind of changed Harry's personality, and he went from a fun-loving guy that we all loved and we all liked to this rather furrow-browed guy who seemed to hate everybody and everything.
Hey, you're not ready for this one. It gets messy fast. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next, because this story only gets crazier from here. Tom Bower is coming in loud with a new book called Betrayal, and this time, he's putting all the spotlight on Harry and Meghan. An early excerpt already dropped, and the claims inside? Yeah. They've reportedly got Harry and Meghan seriously upset. We're talking about 25 major truth bombs, and some of them hit way deeper than expected. One of the wildest parts dives straight into private royal concerns that were never meant to go public. According to the book, Queen Camilla allegedly told a friend she believed Meghan had brainwashed Harry. Not just a throwaway comment either. This was described as a real worry behind palace doors.
Proof that I was there. And proof that I belonged. Because the truth was, I wasn't sure that I belonged. I was so nervous. Oh, I doubted myself, and I wondered if I was good enough to even be there, if what I was doing in the world, albeit important and meaningful as far as I saw it, was it deserving?
The idea floating around was that Harry wasn't thinking for himself anymore, and that Meghan had stepped in and taken control of major decisions. If that's even partly true, it shows just how intense the tension inside the royal circle really got. And let's be honest for a second. Harry doesn't come across like the same carefree, joking prince people remember. Something clearly shifted and people noticed it. Now fast forward to the One Young World Summit. Big event, big expectations, all about leadership and inspiring young people. Meghan Markle gets invited to speak, and everything is set up for a powerful moment. But according to Tom Bower's book, things didn't go as planned at all. Instead of sticking to the theme, Meghan allegedly switched it up and spent around 10 minutes talking about herself and her personal journey. The word "I" was reportedly used nearly 50 times in what was supposed to be a charity-focused speech. That's not exactly what the audience signed up for, and it doesn't stop there. When Ella Robertson, the daughter of the summit's co-founder, reviewed Meghan's script on the autocue, she reportedly reacted strongly and said she's fucked it.
Harry apparently, reportedly, according to the book, is worried he'll be banished from royal circles when William becomes king. Well, that is almost certainly true. He'll probably lose his HRH title and his prince title.
That reaction alone tells you how off-track things may have gone behind the scenes. Then comes one of the most shocking moments in the entire book. Right after their 2018 honeymoon, Harry and Meghan met up with William and Kate for a casual tea. Everything seemed normal at first, until Meghan allegedly snapped at Prince William. The energy shifted instantly. What really stands out? Harry was right there the whole time, sitting, sipping tea, and reportedly doing nothing while things got tense. No stepping in, no calming the situation down, just silence while everything escalated. And this all connects back to William's earlier concerns. He had already warned Harry that the relationship was moving too fast, especially before the engagement. But Harry didn't listen. He pushed forward with the wedding anyway, and after this moment, things between the brothers reportedly became distant. William started keeping space, not just from Meghan, but from Harry too.
Harry claims he and his wife Meghan felt abandoned, a major factor in their move to California. He added he felt trapped by his family and the toxic environment he perceived he was living in.
That one moment may have changed everything. The book also digs into how Meghan allegedly viewed royal life. Instead of seeing it as a platform, it's claimed she saw it as something holding her back from bigger ambitions. According to the narrative, she believed the only way to build real global influence was to step away from the royal system completely, with Harry by her side. The goal? Becoming a major force in media, fashion, and global influence. But critics say the constant image control, branding moves, and public drama made it all feel less like service, and more like a non-stop Hollywood PR rollout. And Harry? He's painted as someone stuck in the middle of two completely different worlds. One side is his royal roots, and the other is the life he built with Meghan. Reports claim he's even worried about the future, especially when Prince William eventually becomes king.
And show that Harry and Meghan are running out of money as the millions that they accrued from the book Spare and the original Netflix deal are beginning to dwindle.
There's talk that Harry fears he could lose his Duke of Sussex title, especially after King Charles removed Prince Andrew's titles. That situation clearly left an impression. If something similar happened to Harry, it wouldn't just be symbolic, it would be huge. It would basically be like getting cut off from the royal inner circle for good. Still royal by blood, but without the title or role. That's not a small shift. That's history-level drama waiting to happen. And here's another layer. According to Tom Bower, Meghan's team was always watching what the royal family was doing, keeping close tabs, and possibly using that information strategically. That kind of awareness, it adds a whole new angle to everything you've heard so far. And trust me, this is just scratching the surface of what's coming next. When Princess Catherine was scheduled to appear at the Royal Variety performance on November 19th, a massive royal event packed with cameras and global attention, something else was allegedly set in motion at the exact same time. According to Tom Bower, Meghan's publicist spotted the date and lined up the release of Meghan's Netflix trailer to drop right alongside it.
Turns out it's not actually jam. Under FDA regulations, it's technically a spread.
The technical term for jam includes a 1-for-1 ratio of sugar and fruit. Most people don't do that.
Bower frames this as part of a bigger strategy. Not just coincidence, but a deliberate move to pull attention away from the royal spotlight and redirect it straight back to Meghan. In his view, this wasn't about confidence. It looked more like a push to stay in the headlines, no matter what. He even suggests that by this point, Hollywood opportunities were starting to dry up for the Sussexes. So moves like this, they came off less like power plays and more like urgency to stay relevant in a space that was getting harder to control. From Harry's side, though, the story feels completely different. He reportedly believes the royal institution left him exposed, especially when it came to security and protection. The same system that once had his back suddenly stepped away, leaving him to figure things out on his own. But from the palace perspective, critics argue it wasn't abandonment, it was the result of stepping away from royal duties. You leave the role, you lose the structure that comes with it. That clash in viewpoints became one of the biggest ongoing tensions between Harry and the monarchy. Now going back to the beginning, when Harry first introduced Meghan to William and Kate, things were already a bit uneasy.
The problem is, she's charging $12 a jar for this, and you can get jam that tastes just as good, if not better, for $4. You're paying all that extra money so you can get Meghan Markle to send you a stupid little card that reads "enjoy" in her lame little calligraphy on one side and "as ever" on the other with, I don't know what that is, if it's a royal seal or what, but it's got a palm tree on it, so I'm guessing not.
According to Bower, William and Kate didn't fully trust the situation. They reportedly saw Meghan as someone who had bigger ambitions than just fitting into royal life in London. There's even a claim that Meghan was frustrated by Harry's very slim chances of ever becoming king, and by extension, her own chances of becoming queen. From that perspective, it raised questions about what her long-term vision really was. At the same time, William and Kate were said to be concerned about Harry himself. They knew his past, his struggles, his personal challenges, his history of difficult moments, and believed Meghan may have stepped into that space in a way that created more division than unity within the family. Then things took another sharp turn right before the One Young World Summit. According to the book, Meghan's team allegedly demanded strict control over the entire setup. We're talking tight restrictions, journalists reportedly blocked from entering freely, and even protesters kept far away from the venue. That's not how these events usually go.
It wasn't like Balenciaga was clamoring for Meghan Markle to appear. She just said, "Hey, I would love to go." And they're like, "Sure, it will give us some publicity, generate some interest."
Normally, crowds gather, people cheer, and there's a real public energy outside. But in this case, the atmosphere was heavily controlled and only selected photographers were allowed in. Even the media presence was carefully filtered. One of the few writers reportedly allowed inside was royal commentator Omid Scobie. So instead of a typical charity event, it started to look more like a polished media production than an open global summit. On screen, everything may have looked smooth and organized. But behind the scenes, reports suggest it was much more rigid, with Meghan arriving with her own rules. And those rules had to be followed exactly. And then comes the financial side of things, which adds even more pressure to the story.
Boom. Oh, really? Please.
Boom. After the Netflix and Spotify deals wrapped up, Bower claims things started tightening fast. Security alone was reportedly costing at least $3 million a year, while income streams weren't keeping up. Even their Archewell Foundation saw a major drop. Revenue reportedly fell from $5.3 million down to $2.1 million. At the same time, spending was said to hit around $3.9 million, while donations only brought in about $1.2 million. That gap forced some big decisions. Certain charitable efforts were reportedly handed off to the Parents Together Foundation, a move presented publicly as a step forward, but one that critics questioned heavily. And then there's Meghan's lifestyle brand, As Ever. One product in particular caught attention, a raspberry fruit spread that was marketed as something special.
Breaking news from London, Prince Harry was seen arriving at Clarence House today for a meeting with his father, King Charles. It's their first reunion in more than a year and a half. The two have been estranged since Harry and his wife, Meghan, left royal life, moving to California.
But critics quickly pointed out a detail that raised eyebrows. According to the book, it wasn't labeled as jam because the consistency didn't meet the standard definition. It was reportedly too runny to qualify, which only added more conversation around the brand and how it was being presented. And somehow, it still doesn't end there, because the next part takes things in an even more unexpected direction. So instead of calling it jam, it got labeled as fruit spread, which had people joking that it was just a polite corporate way of saying watery jam. That alone had critics side-eyeing the whole thing. Then came the price, $12 for a single jar. And according to many reviews, it didn't taste any better than regular jam you could grab for way less. People started asking, what exactly are you paying for here? To push sales, her team reportedly built a story around it. The pitch? That it came straight from Meghan's own kitchen with her children watching excitedly as she made it.
With Love Meghan came in at number 385. The show has garnered just 5.3 million views since its debut in March, which is a pretty dismal number.
Sounds warm and personal, sure, but critics weren't fully buying it. A lot of people started questioning whether anyone really wanted to pay premium prices for something that felt more like a Pinterest-style kitchen project than a luxury product. That gap between image and reality? Yeah, it stood out. Then things take a sharp turn into fashion drama. According to Tom Bauer, Meghan wasn't actually invited to Paris Fashion Week. Instead, he claims she reached out herself to designer Pierpaolo Pacioli with a proposal. And this is where it gets bold. She allegedly suggested making a surprise appearance at the show, if the brand agreed to cover her expenses. Not small expenses either. We're talking around $250,000. But it didn't land the way she may have expected. Pacioli later went on record and said Meghan wasn't invited at all. That statement flipped the whole.
Well, fun fact, Meghan wore reportedly $300,000 worth of jewelry to this event. Charity events are designed to shine a spotlight on those in need, but Meghan's dazzling display drew attention away from the cause and onto her wardrobe. For someone who talks so much about compassion and equality, critics are arguing that the optics feel a little out of touch.
Story upside down. The situation suddenly sounded less like a glamorous fashion moment and more like someone asking, "Can I come if you pay for everything?" It gave off awkward energy that people couldn't ignore. Now shifting over to something much more serious, the Invictus Games. This was Prince Harry's major project, built to support injured veterans through sports. Even Queen Elizabeth backed it, showing just how important it was. But according to the book, critics started using a different name, the Meghan Games. And yeah, that label stirred up a lot of reactions.
That blue bling on her finger, that really stood out. It's the same gem Meghan sported during her wedding reception back in 2018. And at the time, a Kensington Palace official confirmed to ET that the aquamarine ring once belonged to Diana.
The reason? During the events, attention reportedly kept drifting away from the athletes and toward Meghan's outfits, appearances, and photo ops. Headlines started focusing more on what she wore than on the veterans competing. That shift didn't sit well with a lot of people, because at its core, the event was supposed to highlight resilience, recovery, and real stories, not fashion breakdowns. And here's a simple test people started bringing up. Can you name the team that won the most medals last year? Most people can't. That says a lot about where the spotlight ended up. Then came a big image move. A Harper's Bazaar cover meant to position Meghan as a strong global figure entering a new phase. Everything about it was styled to look polished and powerful.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the two little hucksters from Montecito, they're going crawling back to the UK. Apparently in July, they're going over there for the Invictus.
But one small detail quietly stood out. When the journalist arrived at her home, a butler reportedly announced, "Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex," to an empty room. That moment felt oddly theatrical, and people picked up on it right away. It added to the growing perception that everything was being carefully staged. And it doesn't stop there. At an event in New York, observers noticed something else. Both Harry and Meghan looked exhausted, not just tired, but worn down from constant appearances and media pressure. At one point, things reportedly got tense between them. Meghan was seen pushing Harry's hand away during what looked like a disagreement. Now, to be fair, every couple argues. That part is normal. But when you're constantly in the public eye, even a small moment like that can explode into global headlines within hours. Then there's Harry's security concerns during his UK visits. According to Bauer, he was deeply shaken after the Home Office declined to provide armed police protection in cities like Manchester and London. That decision reportedly left him feeling exposed, and in his own words, abandoned. From his perspective, it was a serious risk. But here's where things get complicated. Despite those fears, a full private rail carriage was reserved for his sufferer from London to Manchester. That's a level of security and comfort most people will never experience. Even with that setup, though, his discomfort reportedly didn't go away. Bauer paints a picture of someone caught between feeling unsafe and still surrounded by privilege. And honestly, the next part pushes that contrast even further in a way you probably won't expect. According to Bauer, Harry was essentially saying the UK felt too dangerous to visit, while still choosing to go back. That contradiction alone had people questioning the full picture. Then came a move that really stood out. When Harry returned to the UK, he reportedly donated £1.1 million of his own money to charity. Now that sounds generous, and it is, but the way it was done raised eyebrows. Unlike most royals who quietly support causes without highlighting exact amounts, Harry made this donation very public. The money reportedly went to Well Child, not Barnes & Noble, and the announcement was clear and specific. In royal culture, that's unusual. You're not really supposed to spotlight your own giving like that. And Bauer doesn't hold back. He suggests that to some observers, it didn't look like pure generosity. Instead, he claims people saw it as mitigation money, a very expensive way to repair a damaged public image. That interpretation, yeah, it sparked a lot of debate. Then came a moment many people were waiting for. After nearly 2 years apart, Harry finally met with his father, King Charles III. You'd expect emotion, right? A reunion filled with tension, maybe even relief. Something real between father and son. But according to the book, that's not how it played out. The meeting reportedly lasted just 54 minutes and was described as formal and distant. No photos, no visible warmth, no emotional reunion moments. Insiders even compared it to a scheduled appointment rather than a family reconnection. That alone says a lot about where things stand behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Meghan's lifestyle series with Love, Meghan was supposed to relaunch her image in a big way. The goal was clear, position her as a leading lifestyle voice. But according to Bauer, it didn't land the way they hoped. The show reportedly ranked around 383rd on Netflix charts. For something meant to reset her brand, that number didn't exactly make waves. And from a business angle, Netflix reportedly decided not to continue with it. If a project isn't performing, the investment stops. That's just how the industry works. Then there's the shift in public appearances. Bauer claims Meghan started showing up at events she had previously ignored. One example? A charity event hosted by Kevin Costner. The year before, she reportedly had little interest, but later appeared wearing jewelry valued at around $325,000. People noticed that change immediately. Critics saw it as a sign that visibility had become a priority again, especially when trying to rebuild a public image. It gave the impression that events once passed over were suddenly back on the list, for a reason. And during Paris Fashion Week, the lifestyle image took another turn. Meghan reportedly stayed at the Plaza Athénée in a suite costing around $22,000 per night. That level of luxury definitely fits a high-end influencer image. But critics pointed out the contrast. It doesn't exactly match the idea of a simple home-style kitchen brand. That gap between relatable and ultra-luxury? Yeah, people picked up on it fast. At several events, Meghan also wore jewelry that once belonged to Princess Diana. Naturally, that draws attention every single time. But critics argue that those connections have become a consistent media magnet, something that keeps headlines flowing during public appearances. Then comes another claim from the 2025 Invictus Games in Vancouver. According to Bauer, Meghan allegedly requested to be addressed as ma'am, with Harry as sir. That detail didn't sit well with everyone. Titles like that carry weight, and critics questioned whether it felt appropriate in that setting. There were also concerns raised about costs, private jets, security, and overall expenses reportedly funded by others. And attendance? Reports suggested some events had very low turnout, with claims of just 43 paying spectators at one wheelchair basketball match. There were even suggestions that empty seats were filled for appearances, which only added more questions. Again, the focus was meant to be on the veterans, but critics say attention kept shifting elsewhere. And finally, Bauer points to what could be the next big move. there are claims that Harry and Meghan may try to reconnect with the UK through the 2026 Birmingham Invictus Games. Part of that idea reportedly involves getting King Charles to open the event, creating a major moment that would bring the family and the cameras back together. But Bauer sees that plan as unlikely. With ongoing tensions, possible public backlash, and lingering criticism, a smooth return might not be so simple. And just like that, those are the 25 major claims from Tom Bauer's betrayal. Some surprising, some controversial, and some that definitely got people talking. Let me know, which one shocked you the most? And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next.